Welcome friends to the session of Organization of Knowledge, Library Classification. In this session, we will discuss on the canons of cataloging. Sir S.R. Ranganathan applied scientific methods to cataloging and to the catalog code in 1937. The result was the formulation of normative principles of cataloging called Canons of Cataloguing. Ranganathan's theory of library catalog, published in 1938, describes the normative principles, which included the 5 laws of library science, 6 canons of cataloging, and law of parsimony. The 5th edition of Classified Catalog Code, published in 1964, contains 8 canons of cataloging, 5 laws of library science, and 2 principles. In the December 1969 issue of Library Science, with a slant to documentation, 2 principles and 1 canon of recall value have been further added. Ranganathan has adopted a convention regarding the use of terms like laws, canons and principles. These are all normative principles which are used in particular context. The first is law. In the context of a major discipline such as library science. Second is canon. In the context of divisions of the first order of major discipline such as book selection, classification and cataloging. Third is principle. In the context of divisions of the second or later order of the major discipline such as facet sequence in classification or alphabetization in cataloging. The 5 laws of library science are fundamental laws. The canons of cataloging are implications of the laws of library science, but are applicable to the field of cataloging only. In case a canon cannot give a solution to a problem or there is a conflict between canons, then an appeal to the laws of library science helps in solution. Different types of canons of cataloging. There are 9 canons of cataloging: canon of ascertainability, canon of perpotency, canon of individualization, canon of sort heading, canon of context, canon of permanence, canon of currency, canon of consistency, and finally 9th, canon of recall value. Now, let us discuss each one in detail. First one, canon of ascertainability. This canon prescribes that the information found on the title page of a document and its overflow pages should determine the choice and rendering of various sections. However, there are exceptions for the extract note, extraction note and related book note of the main entry, cross reference entry for the leading and directing section, and specific subject entry in a classified catalog, and subject analytical entry. See also entry in a dictionary catalog and also book index entry for directing section. Comments. If the above canon is followed, then there would be little need for making search to obtain bibliographical and biographical information from the outside sources. In case new information regarding author's name is received, then a reference should be prepared to connect the names. This canon would be better satisfied if an international standard for the title page and its overflow is adopted. In that case, there would be less scope for the violation of the canon. AACR 1 states that the entry for a work is normally based on the statement that appears on the title page or on any part of the work that is used as its subtitle. but other statements that are openly expressed are also taken into account. Material that appears only in the preface, introduction or text enters into the determination of the main entry only when the information on the title page etc. is ambiguous or insufficient. Thus, AACR 1 accepts the directive of the canon to a great extent. AACR 2 states that the chief source of information from printed monographs in the title page, or if there is no title page, the source from within the publication that is used as a subtitle for it. The prescribed source of information for each area of description of printed monographs are specified in AACR 2. It indicates that AACR 2 has made a good attempt to follow the canon. Classified Catalog Code CCC follows the canon rather rigidly. This is evident from the rules prescribed throughout the code. It states that the main entry is to be made up of a reproduction of a portion of the title page modified according to the prescribed rules, utilizing any relevant information given in the overflow of the title page. If the title page gives a pseudonym in the place of an author's name, the pseudonym is to be used as a heading and it is to be followed by the descriptive element pseud. The great advantage of this practice is that an attempt has been made to use a uniformed heading instead of a variant headings. Now, the second one is Canon of Perpotency. This canon says that potency, power of strength to decide the position of an entry among the various entries in a catalogue should, if possible, be concentrated totally in the leading section. Within the leading section, as far as possible, it should be concentrated in the entire element. If total concentration in the leading section is not possible, the minimum possible potency should be allowed to overflow beyond it to later sections. And even this spillover should be distributed in the later section in a decreasing sequence of intensity. Comments: an entry element should be chosen from the multi-word term chosen for the use as heading in which occurrence of words is more numerous, then potency to decide the position of an entry among various entries will be greater. That is, the probability of the same word to be used as entry element by various entries will be less. The name or series such as scientific monograph series, special paper and publications are common names which do not have sufficient potency. This often results in homonyms and then name of an institution or government may be added as follows. Example: American Chemical Society, Scientific Monograph Series, Geographical Society of India, special paper. Third one, Canon of Individualization. According to this canon, the name of an entity used as a heading of a catalogue entry should be individualized with the help of individualizing elements. Comments: if the name of an entity, be it the name of a person, a geographical entity, a corporate body, a series, a document, a subject or a language used as a heading is not individualized, this will cause homonyms. The catalogue will become a mess. This will in turn mislead readers as well as librarians. In order to avoid this problem, CCC, AACR 1 and AACR 2 have prescribed additions of individualizing elements after the name of an entity. AACR 1 have been prescribed individualizing elements for personal names, geographical names, corporate names and uniform titles. AACR 2 have been prescribed additions to headings for person, corporate bodies, governments, conferences, congresses, meetings, exhibitions, fairs and festivals, etc. as headings. CCC prescribes year of birth as an individualizing element after the name of a person. Example, Dasgupta, Subal 1910. It prescribes the name of a country as an individualizing element after the name of a geographical entity having same name but belonging to different countries. Example, Chandni Chowk, India, Chandni Chowk, China. Similarly, individualizing elements have been prescribed for corporate bodies, geographical entities, a series, a document and a subject. Fourth one, Canon of sort heading. This canon directs that decision regarding choice and rendering of heading for main and added entries should be based on the fact whether or not a reader or library staff is likely to look for a document under it. This means that the approach of the users must be satisfied. Comments. This is a very powerful canon. The application of this canon requires natural aptitude based on experience of reference, service and book selection. The canon takes into consideration the approaches of users and will help in elimination of entries which are not going to be sought. Otherwise, the number of possible entries can be very large. Law of parsimony feels satisfied due to proper application of this canon. The design of a catalog code is greatly guided by this canon because many of the rules are determined by means of this canon. The canon is equally applicable to classified and dictionary catalogs. This canon decides which element should be chosen as a heading. The author, subject, collaborator, series and title are considered sort headings and the codes are directed that the entry should be provided under these headings. Name of publisher, year of publication and place of publication, etc. are unsought elements. Therefore, no entries are prepared under these headings. Due to the implication of the canon, only sought headings are chosen for the provision of class index entries. This has led to the reduction in the number of entries and more effective application of chain procedure. The next is Canon of context. This canon prescribes that rules of a catalog code should be formulated in the context of prevalent nature of cataloging features of the book in relation to the mode of book production, prevalent nature of organization of libraries in regard to mode and quality of service and existence of published bibliographies. The rules should be revised from time to time, keeping step with the changing context. Comments. The nature of books, readers and library services keeps changing. The canon demands that cataloging practices should be changed to keep step with changes. It means that rules in the catalog code should also be revised keeping in view the above changes. In the closed access library, there is a need to provide more details including annotation. On the other hand, in an open access library, many of the details including annotation can be left out. IFLA has brought out ISBDs. This is an attempt towards uniform cataloging practices. These have been designed mainly to serve as a means for communication of bibliographical information. These facilitates the conversion of records to machine readable form. These are now widely used in many national bibliographies and by a number of institutions. In order to keep pace with the developments and change in context, AACR 1 has been revised to incorporate the provision of these standards. A day might come when CCC may have to be revised in the light of the standard. The next is Canon of permanence. This canon directs that no element in an entry should be subjected to a change by the rules of a catalog code. Unless the rules are themselves changed, due to the implication of canon of context. Comments. The application of the canon of permanence leads to more or less permanence of the heading as well as other section of an entry. If the rules of the code follow the canon of ascertainability also, then both canons will work in unison. In CCC, alternative names are taken care of by cross reference index entries. If there is a change of name of a person or corporate body, then CCC directs that the headings of existing entries of the document is not changed, but cross reference index entry is prepared to satisfy the approach of the user from the new name. The next one is canon of currency. This canon directs that the term used to denote a subject in the heading of a class index entry of a classified catalog and in a subject entry of a dictionary catalog should be the one in current usage. Comments. There are rules in CCC, AACR 1 and AACR 2 to follow the application of the canon. In CCC, if a geographical entity has had different names at different times, the name current at the time of cataloging is to be used in a subject heading. But according to Ranganathan, the provision of entries under both obsolete and current terms during the period of transition is a practical solution. This goes to show the concern of Ranganathan for the users. But the solution of AACR 1 differs from that of CCC. According to AACR 1, if the name of the place changes during the lifetime of the body, use the latest place name. In the case of change of name of a corporate body, the current name appearing on the publication has been preferred. This will satisfy the canon of ascertainability and also the canon of currency. The rule is a pragmatic one. According to AACR 2, in case of change of name of a corporate body, the current name appearing on the item has been preferred. This will satisfy the canon of ascertainability and also the canon of currency. If the name of local jurisdiction or geographical entity changes, then for individualization purpose, the code suggests that the current name should be added to the name of the corporate body. AACR 2 also states that if an earlier name persists, then that name should be preferred, which will lead to violation of canon of ascertainability and canon of currency. Next one is canon of consistence. This canon says that the rules of a catalog code should provide for all the added entries of a document to be consistent with its main entry, and the entries of all documents should be consistent with one another in certain essentials such as choice, rendering and style of writing of heading and other sections. Comments. Consistency in preparation of various entries is very important. It saves time of the users and staff. For the sake of consistency, it is essential that the main entry of documents should be of the same species. Besides, one species of entry should not be made to take the place of another. For the heading of one and the same entry, mixed species of main heading and subheading such as author heading and subject subheading should be prescribed. CCC follows the canon. It prescribes author headings as the heading of a main entry, except when the work does not have any author. AACR 1 has number of rules which violate the canon of consistence. It prescribes subject headings as subheadings of main entry for works of government corporate authorship. The recommended headings are like India Education, India Public Works, etc. Similarly, uniform titles are recommended for sacred scriptures, anonymous works without title, early collections, peace treaties, etc. In AACR 2, mixed species of main headings and subheadings are avoided. Next is Canon of Recall Value. This canon was propounded in 1969 by S.R. Ranganathan. It is the outcome of development research. The idea of recall value was mentioned by Ranganathan in his theory of library catalogue, but it is only later that it was raised to the status of a canon. According to this canon, when a multi-worded name of a person, an institution, a conference and an organization of government or institution or conference and in the multi-worded title of a document other than periodical publication, the entry word or the entry word group in the heading of the main entry should be the one with the highest recall value. The term recall value refers to the quality of being called back to memory. Therefore, the canon directs that the entry element to be chosen should be the one having highest probability of being called back to memory by the majority of the readers. The canon is applicable for the rendering of names of entities in the heading of an entry. The canon deals with rendering of pure names of persons, corporate bodies and titles of documents. Comments. In CCC, Canon of Recall Value has been applied in many headings. The code treats family names of Western and Westernized names as entry elements. Recall value is concentrated in such names, example Shakespeare, Ranganathan in bracket Shiyali Ramamrita, Radhakrishnan in bracket Sarvepalli, Chakrabarti in bracket ML. According to CCC, the entry element in the name of an administrative department of a government is to be the word or word group denoting the sphere of work. Example, Punjab, agriculture in bracket department of, Kerala, library science in bracket department of. The entry element of the name of a temporary organ of a government is to be rendered according to its subdivision for the administrative department. Example, India, education in bracket commission 1964, chairman D.S. Kothari. Similarly, CCC has recommended various rules for different types of institutions, conferences and titles used as headings to satisfy the canon of recall value. This canon takes into consideration the memory of the users regarding the search of catalogue. This canon is revolutionary from the angle of Ranganathan's thought. Now, let us summarize the session. In this unit, it is tried to explain the 9 canons of cataloguing formulated by Ranganathan and the application of these canons at the time of cataloguing of the documents in a library. Canons of cataloguing are all implications of the laws of library science specific to the field of cataloguing. In case of a conflict between canons, an appeal is made to the laws of library science. Each canon has a specific sphere of its application. Canon of ascertainability, canon of consistence, canon of sort heading and canon of context are applicable to all kinds of headings. Canon of permanence is applicable to personal name and corporate body headings. Similarly, canon of currency is confined to subject headings. The canon of recall value is an extremely important one. This canon may be considered a master one as a number of canons are its corollaries. It will have a profound effect on cataloguing. Here are some assignments for you to work out. Prepare the heading for the library catalogue of the given documents following the canon of perpotence. Scientific monograph series of American Chemical Society Second one, prepare the headings for the library catalogue of the given documents following the canon of individualization. A. History of College Square in Calcutta. B. History of College Square in Chennai. Third one, prepare the headings for the library catalogue of the given documents following the canon of individualization. A. Author Krishna Chakrabarti, year of birth 1970. B. Author Byron Das Gupta, year of birth 1986. Fourth one, prepare the heading for the library catalogue of the given document following the canon of recall value. Books written by Department of Agriculture, Punjab, India. Fifth one, prepare the heading for the library catalogue of the given document following the canon of recall value. Conference proceedings of All Asia Educational Conference held in Varanasi in 1930. Now, I can suggest few books for further reference. Classified Catalogue Code with Additional Rules for Dictionary Catalogue Code, 5th edition, written by Ranganathan S.R. 1964, published by Asia Publishing House, Bombay. Theory of Cataloguing, 5th revised edition, written by Kumar Girja and Kumar Krishna, 1991, published by Vikas Publishing House Private Limited, Delhi. Recall value and entry word in heading, library science with a slant to documentation, 6, written by Ranganath S.R. 1969. The canon of recall value and the arrangement of main entries in documentation list, IASLIC Bulletin, page 18 and 81, written by Bhattacharya G. 1973. Variation between personal name headings and title page usage, Cataloging and Classification Quarterly Journal, page 1 to 11, written by Shore Melinda L. 1984. Thank you for watching this session. See you next time with a new topic. Until then, bye.